Shove it, man!
Okay, welcome to your additional jab to the jaw for the week. This video will leave you without the ability to speak. We've already taken a look at the 10 moments fans quit watching TNA and WWE, so it seemed only right to keep this going with other companies. Remember, we're looking at televised moments that made you throw the remote down in anger. The key word there. Note the adjective. I don't think you as a 10-year-old really cared which booker was just hired behind the scenes. These are reasons that were chosen by you, the fans, and I have to say I'm pretty shocked with how many people tuned out of some of these. Not sure if I could really continue this series after this one, because let's face it, ECW, ROH and AEW fans are all extremely loyal to their shows. I'm not sure anything has made them tune out. Here are 10 moments that WCW fans quit watching the show. Number 10. A wild Slapnuts appears. Jesus Christ. Okay, it wasn't just because Slapnuts appeared in WCW, but more what happened during his time in the company. Jarrett had just lost to Chyna in the WWF in a good housekeeping match. Then he was on Nitro the next night in October 99. Jarrett was nothing more than a mid-card act in the WWF, but that would soon change. Jeff received a monster push in WCW, which was mainly due to his friendship with Vince Russo, the booker, having trust in Jarrett. He was the chosen one. People probably think I hate Jeff, and I don't. He's had some great matches, but I don't think he's as good as others in Power did. Jarrett as an upper mid-carder, yeah fine, that's cool, I'm down with that. At the Spring Stampede pay-per-view, Slapnuts beat Diamond Dallas Page to win the vacant WCW heavyweight title for the first time. Some fans just didn't buy into Jarrett as the heavyweight main eventer. It made the promotion look weak. How could this mid-carder suddenly be a main eventer? And some go one further, claiming Slapnuts had changed the channel heat or go away heat. They couldn't stand him being the number one man in WCW and they tuned out with him crowned as the new champion. It probably didn't help when he won the championship a further 3 times. Number 9. Russo wins the belt. I'm sure a lot of people in the comments are going to say they quit watching because Russo came in as the booker, but we're looking for televised moments. And I mean, unless you're a bit older, come on, you didn't quit watching because the booker changed to Vince Russo, let's be honest. Hit yourself with a brick. The heavyweight title picture was a complete mess in late WCW. Due to wrestlers leaving and injuries, the title was vacated more times than I've hit people in the gut. And that's a lot of gut punching. Autumn 2000, Russo decided it was his long-term dream to capture the WCW title. He ended up in a Hell in a Cell match against the defending champion Booker T on September 25th, 2000 episode of Nitro. It doesn't help that the match features so many wrestlers getting involved. Bad camera shots and Booker T looking like a dumb champion by not putting away Russo sooner. Booker T decided to let Goldberg into the cage so he could beat up Russo, but instead it led to Goldberg hitting a spear on Russo which sent him through the cage wall before Booker could get out the door. The show goes off the air with everyone screaming that they don't know what's happened. People were horrified that WCW would do this and they changed the station. Vince Russo wasn't an athlete, he was skinny fat. It was all pointless anyway because Russo relinquished the belt on the next Nitro and Booker won the belt back in a San Francisco 49ers match. Another horrible match that would get you to change the channel, if you haven't already done so. So it begs the question, what was the point? Number 8. Nash versus Goldberg. The Goldberg streak is one of the most famous things that came out of WCW, and his streak was one of the things that helped them perform so well in the Monday Night Wars. Goldberg's streak had to come to an end at some point as the number reached 173-0. The moment we'll be looking at today is Starrcade 1998. Goldberg and Kevin Nash met in the main event for the heavyweight title in a no DQ match. After a bunch of wrestlers ran in, Scott Hall appeared on the apron with a stun gun, and he shot Goldberg with it. Nash then finished him off with the jackknife powerbomb to end Goldberg's streak. Fans tuned out because they didn't agree with Nash being the one to end the streak, and they hated how stupid it looked. I'm going to point out here, because it's not really mentioned that much, but the fans chanted Goldberg sucks throughout the match, and they cheered like crazy when he lost. This might be one of those ones that's more for the internet wrestling fans, because there's a large part of the community that hate Kevin Nash, and he was part of the booking committee at the time, which makes them hate him more. Number 7. NWA 2000. The NWO was great at first, but as the years went on the concept was done to death and the fans become sick of it. This faction lasted way too long and was watered down by weak additions of new members. So when it ended, people weren't too upset. Fast forward to a match on Nitro from December 20th, 1999. Once again the WCW title had been vacated and it was Bret Hart versus Goldberg for the belt. But it was yet another WCW swerve, bro, as they became known for over the years. Nash and Hall beat Goldberg up with bats. Piper tries to save Goldberg by cradling him in his arms. Bret was bending over nearby, and somehow this is a 3. Bret wins. That's a confusing enough ending. Then Slapnuts is here, and they start spray painting NWO on their backs. Badly, I might add. And that was that, we'd seen it before. As Nash laughed and said, "The band are back together," everyone shut down the show. WCW had done the NWO angle to death, and the last thing they needed was to start doing it again. Number 6, Arquette wins the belt. What do you want me to say? Of course this one sucked. Actor David Arquette was hanging around in WCW with DDP. We've obviously all heard of WWE pushing celebrities, but it was never done to this extent. The New Blood was fighting the Millionaires Club, and Jarrett had kidnapped David Arquette. He asked for a tag match, putting Jarrett and Bischoff against DDP and Arquette for DDP's heavyweight title. It doesn't help that Arquette doesn't look anything remotely like a wrestler. I would honestly bet that 90% of you watching right now have a better physique than this guy. Also, I'm not sure how famous he even is outside the US. I certainly hadn't heard of him at the time. His wife's far more famous than he is worldwide. Eric Bischoff beat up DDP whilst he had to try and sell his stupid looking offense. David Arquette speared Bischoff while Slapnuts hit DDP with the belt. A ref rolled into the ring and counted the 3, and David Arquette has won the World Heavyweight title. DDP celebrates with him and was smiling like the cat that got the cream, despite Arquette taking his belt from him. What the hell are you smiling about, you goon? You got nothing to be happy about. It felt like a bad publicity stunt gone wrong. Arquette would lose the belt 12 days later to Slapnuts in a triple cage match. Arquette turned on DDP and handed Slapnuts another title reign. So that's another reason fans gave up on WCW. Number 5, the Finger Poke of Doom. Taking place on a Nitro from January 4th, 1999. Two factions were at war, the NWO Wolfpack and NWO Hollywood. It would be the WCW Heavyweight Champion Kevin Nash defending against Hollywood Hawk Hogan. This particular episode of Nitro is actually so bad that it gets another mention later in this video. So it's the main event, and most people want Nash to win because the Wolfpack are far more popular and cool than anything that Hogan's doing at the time. After some pacing around the ring, it's clear to see how much more popular Nash was than the ancient looking Hogan. So naturally, Hogan pokes Nash in the chest. Nash falls down like a sack of shit and Hogan covers him for the 3. The NWO have reunited as one big group, and nobody cared. Scott Hall shocks Goldberg with the taser again, and as Bischoff laughs on commentary, it felt like they were laughing in all the WCW fans' faces. Number 4, Bash at the Beach 2000. If you didn't expect this one to make the list, smack yourself in the kidney. Yet another entry from the year 2000. As you can tell, it wasn't exactly a good year for them. Before the scheduled match, Vince Russo makes his way out, closely followed by the heavyweight champion Jeff Jarrett. He'll take on Hogan. There's a big pause as both men seem hesitant to start the match. Eventually, Russo tells Jarrett to lie down as Russo throws the belt in the ring and Hogan looks confused. Hogan has a mic and he blames Russo for the shape of the company, and then he covers Jeff with his foot on his chest. And Hogan was never seen in WCW again after this. Booker T winning the belt from Jeff in the real main event did little to help, as most people already kicked the TV in. Number 3, WCW Reboot. 2000 once again. No wonder there was hardly anyone left at the end of the year 2000. The Nitro on April the 10th starts out with a bunch of wrestlers in and around the ring. As the camera went through them, you'd have trouble naming who they actually are. Then Jeff Jarrett gets on the mic and tells us that he's the chosen one. Then it gets worse because Vince Russo is here. Russo proceeds to cut a ranting promo covered of insider wrestling terms. Then he's joined by the leader of the Grey Crew, Eric Bischoff, and they have a hug. This is the story of how two writers are now writing the show together. For some reason, this is a 20-minute promo of constant references to things most of the audience have no idea what they're talking about. All the belts are forcibly vacated whether or not the wrestlers want to. Me personally, I don't find this reset so bad, but it came down to a vote on our community channel, and loads of you said this segment made you quit WCW. I guess it was a combination of more TV time for Russo and Bischoff and the hatred of all the belts being vacated. Having to do a reset is like having to admit you failed, and they certainly had. Number 2, Mankind wins the WWF title. Let's keep this one short because there isn't much to say. I honestly thought this entry was just a thing of WWF legend referenced in their WWE documentaries when they brag about winning the Monday Night Wars. But no, a lot of you said you quit at this point, and not with rage, because you were presented with a better option, and better is always good. Once again, we're heading over to Nitro from January 4th, 1999. Hogan's cutting a promo on Kevin Nash and talking about this being his retirement match. They cut to the announcer's booth where Tony Schiavone says, if you're thinking about changing the channel, don't bother, because Mick Foley, who used to be Cactus Jack, is about to win the WWF World title. That'll put butts in seats. And straight from that, they go into a little WCW Pokemon card advert. So everyone changed the channel to catch the title win. Raw was airing on tape delay at the time, and WCW used to give away the results live on air. But this time they underestimated the intrigue and love for Mick Foley. It's estimated that around 600,000 people changed the channel at once. And if you happen to switch back to Nitro after Foley's title win, you were treated to the Finger Poke of Doom on the same show. So that sure would have finished you off then. And number 1, WCW Ending. The final episode of WCW Nitro on March 26, 2001 was the undisputed ending for some fans of WCW, because they had no choice at this point. The show was done. I'm shocked how many of you stuck around to the end. This is actually the most viewed episode of Nitro in 27 episodes at the time. I guess a lot of people wanted to tune in and catch this historic night. They scored a 3.0 in the ratings, which I think translates to like 5 million people. Not to be sniffed at nowadays. Flair and Sting faced off in the main event until the show turned into the McMahon family soap opera and hyped their WrestleMania match. So by my Hawk logic, this has to be the episode where most WCW fans quit. And that doesn't need any Hawk maths to work out. And those fans didn't exactly all transition over to the WWF, who scored a 5.65 up from 4.7 on the next Raw. And the ratings never really got back up to the 5s after 2002. So I guess those missing people not only quit WCW, but quit wrestling entirely at this point. Okay, that's the list. Did I miss any out that made you throw down the remote in anger and swear to never watch WCW again? Would you like to see me attempt this one for AEW or ECW? Or is there just no point? And if these reasons didn't make you throw your remote down in anger, you're probably smoking a joint.